Right, good afternoon everyone. I'm just going to do a video on preventing scours and what to look out for, and also how we deal with it if we do get it. So I'll start with what causes scours. So all the things that I'm about to talk about is what I think. Other people will have different opinions on what causes it and how they also deal with it. Now I'm open to other people giving some feedback on how they deal with scours. So I'm going to start with milk. So out here we've got two vats that we store our colostrum in, and when the calves are outside being fed on the big calf feeder, which is just there, when we're changing from one vat to another, I always make sure that our worker mixes between the two when you're changing from, so when you're going from older milk to fresh milk. So I always make sure that they do half and half as the older milk's running out, just to transition them on. And same when we going on to milk powder, we don't just put a whole lot of milk powder in with the milk, we just slowly get them into it. And yeah, that's how we feed the milk. Also, these calves that are in the shed, that when they first come into the shed, we feed them fresh milk, and then they go onto the milk that's in the calf feeder when they go outside. And that there is, we don't seem to have any problem with the younger ones getting scours when they go outside. Overfeeding can also cause scours early on. If they're a bit of a guts, they'll just drink and drink and drink. So on these blue calf feeders here, they actually have partitions. So each partition is 2.5 litres. So when they are on, if we're feeding them twice a day, then they get two, one in the morning, one at night. Otherwise, when they're on once a day, we just put more on the top when they finish, and they get some more milk. So conditions can also cause scours. We have had it that the calves have got scours when it's really, really wet and cold constantly, but it's very rarely do we get it when it's cold. One of the biggest things that we've found is overcrowding in the calf shed. If we aren't getting calves outside into that paddock quick enough, and especially in the peak of calving, if we end up with a lot of calves in here, you can smell it as soon as you walk in the door. You can smell that you can just smell that it's off. It doesn't smell nice in here. And so there's also, you use your nose and use your eyes. Look to see, you can look at calves and say, oh, that calf has scours. And scours is very distinct smelling. You can smell when you get white scours. You smell it, and you'll be able to pick it out every time when you walk into a shed if there's scours in someone's calf shed. So when you come into a calf shed, or when I come into this calf shed and I can smell that there's scours, I will spray it out with this spray here, that one, and we just use a knapsack and just spray it on the ground and on the walls, on the rails, everywhere. So I guess I'm mixing up some of the, while I've been talking, I'm also talking about prevention as well. I'm not the best at speeches, but I'm doing my best. So we also use a scour ban for when a worker is feeding the calves out in the paddock with a big calf feeder. If she always has this with her and a syringe, and if she sees any calves that look like they're getting scales, just look like it, she'll give them some. The only downside is we can't give this here to any calves that we're selling or that are going on the bobby, because it actually has meat withholding. So can't use that on calves that are going to the sale. But it works well with calves that are going to get, that could be getting scours. It's a good preventative method. That's what we try and do. We try and prevent it. So that's the biggest thing. When you see it, when you smell it, is to do something about it straight away. So as I said earlier, mixing, when you're going from milk, different milks, mix so that they're not just going straight on to some fresh milk, because they'll just get the crap straight away. We also have True Bond, which I don't have any down here at the moment, but it's just like a powder that you put in the tray, and the calves will lick it, and you'll see it on their nose because it goes all white. And quite often you'll get a calf that really likes it, and I've actually had a calf which had it built up in their mouth, and when I realised that, I actually pulled a chunk out of its mouth. It was like just can't explain it, just built up. So we also spray out using that spray if you can smell it, and yeah, so main thing is just to use your eyes and nose, and you'll be able to tell when you've got scours. And if anyone's got any other tips on how they deal with scours, or yeah, let me know, because I'm always interested in learning some different ways. When you work out a way that works, you tend to stick with it. So that's what we do. You're not immune. We are not immune to getting scours. Everyone could get scours. They're probably worse sicknesses like rotavirus that you wouldn't want to get, but scours you can treat and fix. Also separating them, if you've got one that has scours, which she doesn't, but if you separate them, that also helps to contain it. Yeah. So this is how to prevent scours, and this is how we do it. So yeah, I hope that's helpful information for any calf rearers or farmers that are having problems with scours. But yeah, let me know if you have any other methods of dealing with it. So yeah, these guys here have got a new home. They'll be going either tomorrow or Wednesday. So yeah, thanks for watching. You can check us out on Facebook, Family Farming and Fun. Otherwise, I'll see you another time. Bye.